Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Back,
friends.
friends from
Hey,
all over.
friends. Yeah, friends from all over.
Thank you for joining us for another live podcast episode. Hello, Casper. Even though we
Hello,
knew you were
Casper.
here already. Um, Thank you for joining us for another live episode. We are going to be previewing the 2024 season. Now that testing is done and over with. And happy race week, everyone. I guess I should have started off with
Happy?
that.
I'm so excited.
I know it's
I
finally back.
sorry, opening up my window. Um, I just like waking up this morning and getting on Twitter and everything and seeing just all the accounts we follow posting, like Happy Race Week, all this stuff was fantastic. I'm so excited.
It's like the week before Christmas, I feel like you could say. Everyone's ready for
It,
it.
it feels like everybody is ready for it. I mean, it's
I mean,
it's so
after
exciting.
what? It felt like the longest, but also kind of the shortest and craziest winter break. So it's happy to know it's back and we're
It definitely felt short because of how crazy it
busy it
is.
was.
You know what I mean? Like it was just like everybody was so many things happened that it was such a good it flew by, you know?
You froze.
Yeah, I could
Haven't
see
checked.
myself being frozen right now. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you when you're frozen. Sorry,
All
people.
right, well, let's
No, you're still frozen.
it wouldn't be an episode without wouldn't be an episode without
Yeah,
some
wow. Are
troubles.
you bringing your camera back, or am I going to look at myself the whole time?
I'm just unplugging, replugging my camera.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I mean, the fact that you can still hear me is pretty good. But
Don't worry, Casper. I will clip this one. I will clip this entire little section.
damn, I didn't screens cap in time. Casper, come on.
Hey, Linus. We got some thread friends here. Well,
Linus.
always.
My God.
Okay. You're still
Oh,
frozen.
you're joking.
Leave
What
and
in
come
the
back.
world? What?
If you're just joining us, we're having. Okay, he's gone. Give us 2 seconds. So what's up, guys? Guys, as we wait for Owen to come back, I'm not taking away the banner, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. This is making it 10 times better. I'll sit like this on this side. Um, Before he comes back, obviously we said we're gonna preview the 2024 season today. We can see your comments, so please send us any questions, comments, anything you have you want to hear. Waiting for Owen. He has a whole list of different notes that he wants to talk about with each team. But let's see if he comes back or not. This is so chaotic. I can't. I'm gonna text him. Are you coming? Pause. Let's see if he answers. Starting off so well. So well. It is the Casey show. Okay, let me take this away while we. He's coming. He's being. It says it's being stupid. So he's coming. But yeah, any questions? Anything our viewers want to know? Send me some questions because I don't want to talk about myself. For Owen's dead. Yeah, Owen's gone. I kicked him off. Killed him off. He's no longer allowed to be a part of the podcast. It's just me. Oh my god, there's so many friends here. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments also. There's so many friends here. Okay. No, seriously, guys. So how do we think of testing? I'll just keep going. What do we think of testing? Are we scared? Delusional? Hopes high? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. I can't do this. I need Owen back. Okay. I don't know what to do. Owen. Oh, he's back. He's coming. Whoa, how does he have that little McLaren logo?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
For some reason it was telling me that it wasn't recognizing my camera and everything, so I just quickly uploaded this McLaren logo for an avatar. I'm gonna keep working on it.
So I'm just.
But
Oh, you're back. He's back. He's back. He's back.
the IT guy can't figure it out.
Don't quit your day job, Owen. Don't quit your day job.
Yeah. God damn.
Okay, well, he's back. So we have some comments. I was just and we have our fellow friends back in the chat, Owen. Guido and Luigi and Kachow. So
Oh, good. Good. That's great. I'm so happy they saw that.
yes. So do you want to get going now that we're back before we lose you
Yes.
again?
We can get going because we can get into this. Oh, look, and I lost my notes. You
Oh
love
my god.
to see that. I'm really well. This will be easier. This I can figure out fast. But were there any questions in the comments as I was struggling with this?
Why were you listening to me?
I started to for a bit, but at first I
Kachow
wasn't.
asked, who do you think takes it all the way this year? Great question,
I think
Kachow.
that's a good question, Kachow. That's great. I think it will be
Red Bull.
Max Verstappen. Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm opening up my notes, so now I have.
Yeah, I think it's Max
right.
Verstappen. Back will be hurting by the time he wins the championship for both himself and the team. But that's just how I feel. That one's a mess. That one's stressed.
Best. It's just a whole mess. All right, so the way we're gonna do this tonight, like we mentioned earlier, if anybody saw earlier tweets, we were gonna have Mark with us tonight. Unfortunately, he had to step away for a bit. So what we think we're gonna, or what we are planning on doing,
what we think we're gonna do.
We're gonna have Mark in spirit with us.
Mm-hmm.
As many as you know, if you guys follow us, Mark is a great journalist for SB Nation. He writes a whole bunch of F1 articles. And he wrote a really long one today, and it's honestly such a good read. Saying it's really long doesn't makes it sound bad, but it's a whole 2024 season preview. He goes through every team and talks about kind of what their goal is for the season. So what I did was I took a yes, Sarah. We're gonna have the ghost of Mark with us. So
oh my god, you're frozen again. I don't want to tell you that.
Right. That off. All right, you're getting the McLaren logo.
Okay. Just keep going.
So essentially what I did was I took my thoughts for what I want to see from each team this year, and this can range from anything from like actual critical thoughts of like this is how I want to see them perform versus or it could range to then dumb bullshit stuff of just some jokes. So I took that, and then I also took it's the ghost of Owen today.
Owen and Mark are here in spirit.
I also took just a summarization of what Mark thought and did set it up that way. So going into it, we're going to start with Haas, and we're going to kind of work our way up, I guess. It's pretty much the order will make sense as we go about it. So starting with Haas, something that I really want to see from Haas is an improvement to their Drive to Survive storyline. And I say this just because I'm not done Drive to Survive yet, but every season the Haas episode is always the same, and it's always about them struggling,
being awful.
And yeah, it's always about them being awful and just having poor races and everything. And it's just I want to see that storyline be better, and I know in order to do that, they need to perform better throughout the year. So it's very kind of simple in that understanding. The more technical side of this and what Mark kind of leaned into is the two biggest things where they need to work on their race pace and not just like their one lap good pace. And what he means by this is, and we saw this last year, is Haas would randomly have like really good qualifying sessions, and they would do really well in terms of like we made it to Q3. You know, we're placing P8 in Q3, but we made it to Q3. You know, and then in the race they would fall all the way down to the upper teens or whatnot for their final position. And they said that this was because we had really good quali pace, so they could really push the car for one lap.
It's almost like
But then
Ferrari.
the moment they needed to do more than 5 laps consistently at a race pace, the car couldn't handle it. Part of that was the car. Part of that was also the tire degradation that they sucked with last year. I mean, the tires were basically just like dissolving on the tracks on every track. It was bad. So they need to work on that, and we already saw them kind of working on this. They said for preseason testing, like, hey, we're not really going out there to study the car. We're going out there to study the tires and figure this out and everything. And they've already taken kind of the steps to make this a little bit better, which I thought is a good step in the right direction for them.
I'm excited to see also like with their new team principal and leadership and stuff, and see. Obviously, all we've ever known with Haas is Gunther, so it would be exciting to see a different team principal. But then, if things continue, you were back for a second, then you were gone.
I tried to see if I could pop back in.
If things were to continue going bad for Haas, then it's the question of, is it actually Gene's fault and not the team principal? Because as we can see, I mean, did you at least you watch that episode of Drive to Survive?
Yeah,
I feel like Williams and Haas, I feel like at some point, at least Drive to Survive portrayed it, that he just like lost he just didn't seem excited anymore, especially at that one phone call to Gene, and then he just looked like he lost it. I don't know. But yeah, it will be exciting to see how their team principal, the new team principal, AO, it'll be exciting to see how he does. I mean, he's also has so much experience. The random clip-ins of you, but
I keep trying.
But yeah, we have some questions, or some comments.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Sarah's saying, that they have to take a look at their car and then obviously everybody else's car as much as they can, to the point of, you know, okay, what are we doing wrong here that's causing our tires to just completely destroy themselves on these tracks? You know, like what is happening that this is happening, you know? And it sounds stupid and it sounds very simple to do, but obviously we know it's not. And like I said, I would like to see them perform a little bit better, just because we know this. I love Gunther. I thought he was hilarious in Drive to Survive, and his personality cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
But now that he is out, I am excited to see where AO will take the team and what he will do and whatnot. And I just think that, yes, Haas needs to step it up in the terms of just overall consistent performance for them. So that's kind of...
Sarah, that's a good question. I don't remember seeing it versus everyone else. And I did look at some data.
Dana.
What'd you say?
You said Dana instead of data.
Well, you're a McLaren logo right now, so...
All right. You know what? That is so uncalled for. That is hardly my fault.
I think it is your fault. It's your camera's fault.
I'm trying to figure it out.
You know, it'll be interesting to see, because like you said, going back to the whole quali thing and how it was like Nico Hülkenberg could easily be... He's gone again. My goodness. I can't. He's gone again. Are you back?
Let me in.
I am letting you in. I'm so sorry to everyone. This is so chaotic and so unorganized. Owen, it's just me. Forget him. Let me see. Okay, wait, there's comments. Linus, that is a good thing. I think, any outcome for Haas this year will be positive. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Linus has a good point that basically anything, like any points for Haas this year will be a positive, and I think
That's
that is good. I think you have to think of it that way. I feel like that's how Williams thought of it last year. Like any points that they could get was a good thing. So I do agree with that statement. But I was saying before you disappeared again, because Nico Hulkenberg was always the one that was easily in Q3 with that car, and it was like a shock at first, but then it became like a normal thing, and you were like, oh, he can actually qualify pretty well. But literally, one lap in, you just saw both Haas just drop back in the leaderboard. So, yeah, I think that's a big thing for them to figure out their race pace, their pure race pace.
Yeah, it was, like you said, you kind of hit the nail perfectly. Like, it was a shock at first seeing a Haas in Q3, and then you kind of got used to it, but then at the same time, you got used to, you know, okay, hey, we're in Q3, but it's like, we're not going to do anything really with it. You know, like, we're not going to take advantage of it.
No, they didn't take advantage of it at all. It was like an immediate failure for them.
So that's kind of it with Haas. I know it's like kind of, starting off with like an easy one, like a quick, just like, hey, they need to perform better, but they do. And like I said, I would like to see a Drive to Survive episode next year where it's not like, here's your run of the mill Haas episode where we're talking about how bad Haas is and how unlucky Haas is. So would definitely like to see that for Haas. Hopefully, like we said, AO can kind of take this team in the step in the right direction. As funny as it was when they openly said it to everybody, the fact that they were focused so much on tires during preseason instead of like normal, aerodynamics, how the car's performing, how the cars feel and everything during preseason testing was funny, but also it works.
Yeah.
Also, Casper, sure. Like,
Sure. No, I also think if you look at how the fact that Haas also had, I know it's just testing, but that Haas had the most laps completed out of all the teams. I think they were trying to get as much data as possible, and I feel like that could all help them in the end. So it will be interesting to see how well they do. Next team, you want to go on or no?
Yeah, we'll go on. So
try your camera again or no?
Next team, no, I'm giving up on it because that's what I just tried to do. That's what I just tried to do, and that's what got me booted out. So
okay, so I get
sorry,
to look
everybody.
At nothing.
This is my logo for the night. I think it fits for me though.
Wait, this is also a brilliant point that Sarah's bringing up. I am also shocked that that car didn't die on the track, didn't cause a red flag. Yeah, I'm shocked by that one.
All right, going forward.
So who you going to next?
Next team on our list is Sauber, or
the
Ben 10 team,
or whatever we're calling them. Not Steak, not Kick, Sauber. We're calling them Sauber.
So,
which let me just say before you go into your details, that green looks so nice on track. I have to say
it does. I didn't catch a lot of preseason testing. Honestly, when I woke up that morning and it was Drive to Survive day, I kind of I chose Drive to Survive, watching that over preseason testing. But I do think it looks really good because I watched highlights from preseason testing and everything. It does look very, very good on track.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It was like when you would text me, Case, and said like the state car looks really bright on track, I immediately was like, is it like an ugly bright or is it like?
No, it's a good bright, and especially like tracks at nighttime, like a night race under the lights, it just like glows, but it's really nice.
Yeah, I 100%. Yeah, I think it looks really good, and like I said, I needed to see the Alpine car to finally make up my mind about that car, but also seeing it on track. Seeing the Ben 10 car on track, I do like it a lot more than I thought.
Ben 10 car.
I'm committing to calling them the Ben 10 team this year. I'm just saying Sauber right now so people know who I'm talking about, but from now on, they'll be called the Ben 10 team.
Did you see the video of Valtteri today doing basically ASMR on TikTok?
I did see that. It was very weird. Very, very odd.
Okay, go on with your
So
steak.
For Sauber, so what I want to see from them is because it's kind of their team identity right now, I want to see them stick to the idea of like, we are just a transition team. Like we're kind of
Mhm.
just in this mode of preparing for becoming Audi in 2026. I think like and I'm saying that because I want to be pleasantly surprised from them. I want it to be like, hey, this is just a transition team. We're becoming Audi in 2026. That's when we'll kind of expect more performance out of them because that brand is going to be part of that brand wants to be part of a team that's going to perform and everything. But I'm also like, okay, what if they come in this year and they perform? Like, cool. Like, absolutely. Throw a little, like, extra spice into the storyline this season.
Well, I
Um,
mean, Valtteri looked pretty good
Valtteri did
during
look pretty
testing.
good. Yeah. And I was looking at all the times and everything, and Zhou Guan Yu, he had some pretty
Yeah,
decent
Joe
times as
did
well.
too good. Yeah.
Um, so like I'm saying, like I don't want to see an interview with Bottas and Joe, after Bahrain and being like, we're coming after, constructors championship and everything this year, and we're going after driver
Oh
championships. And
yeah.
I just feel like if they do something like that, they're going to be punching above their weight. And I think they just need to kind of bide the time right now for we are a
Work with
transition
what they
team.
have.
Yeah. Right. Working with what they have. Hey, this is
Uh-huh.
who we are right now. We're okay with that. We're gonna embrace that. And 2026 will become Audi, and that's when we'll start performing. Um Mark, in his article and everything, his summary was kind of the similar, but he was saying they just need to close the gap to the front of the pack as much as they can before they become Audi.
Oh
And
yeah.
that kind of goes into the whole thing of when they become Audi. I think that's when that's true.
Re-
That's true, Sarah. Yeah, they
like I
have
know when
to
you're reading a comment because you just go silent. I can't see you,
they
but
have to toe the line of not saying, "Hey, we suck this year,"
hmm
but also saying at the same time, like, "Okay, we're not the best," and they have to walk that really well. So that's definitely like a challenge for them. But
I think if they can equally compete with, I know we'll talk about them, but I feel like if they can compete with Williams and RB or VCarb, I feel like that's good. Like I feel like that's going to be the middle of the. I feel like that will be the midfield, those three teams. So I feel like
yeah,
if they can compete with those two, they will. I think it'll end up being a good, successful year for them, in those eyes. So in their
yeah,
eyes.
I agree. It's to me, like I agree 100% with what Mark was saying. They need to do whatever they can to increase performance, and
hmm
then stick to we are becoming Audi, and we are just taking this year and next year to just pull as close as we can to the middle of the pack or the front of the pack, whatever their target they want to set is. That's not crazy insane, and go from there, and make it, we're just doing this as much as we can so that way when we become Audi, we have this performance by our name. Like, yeah, how about Team Mario Kart?
I was
Is
waiting to
here.
see if you saw the comment.
First of all, you spelled cart wrong. It's K in the game. So come on. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it with Ben 10. It's literally just
Ben.
like the show's amazing, but the team just kind of has to chill, you
hmm
know?
Just work with what they have.
Right. Work with
Work with
what
what
they
you have.
have.
Don't shoot for the moon. Work with what you have. Be successful with what you have. Just let Joe have a good home race because he can finally race at home.
Yep.
He finally gets to drive at home. Yeah, just be okay. Just work with
Pick
what you have.
pick on people their own size and stay right there. That's like
hmm
pretty much what it is,
Yeah, pick on the teams your own size with your
and
own.
then go from there and see how well you do.
hmm
Just like, all right, don't be afraid to, maybe mess around with your car a little bit and be like, oh, hey, that's a pretty radical idea, but let's screw it. Let's see what happens. like, and just go from there. Kind of stick to that identity of we are here. We're a transition team. We're going to do as well as we can, and we're going to move on. That's it. But yeah, that's kind of my, like I said, I just want to see them do as well as they can and just try to get as much performance out of that car as possible.
I know who Guido Luigi is just by that comment. I know we know who they are, but I know who Guido Luigi is.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add for Sauber?
No, not much. See how it goes. Just look forward to nice helmets from Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu because they always deliver with some good ones. So.
Yeah, I saw on Instagram today, like randomly, and it was like right as I was like logging out of it too. I think Bottas released this, like posted a video about his helmet, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, there was another video with his helmet, and it was like the Northern Lights behind the helmet.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cool looking. That was just posted today. This is actually a good point. I know we're not, but China is going to be interesting since it's a sprint weekend.
No, that's a very good.
I feel like it's
point.
anyone's game. I mean, it's probably Max's game, but I feel like anyone could take it. Sarah, you didn't see Valtteri Bottas' helmet? It's the Northern Lights.
It looks good, Sarah.
It's beautiful.
It's a good looking helmet.
My favorite helmet. But yeah, okay. Continue.
Moving on to our favorite team name, V-Carb.
V-Carb, who
V-Carb.
I have a feeling is going to be a sleeper agent. I feel like it's going to be a little surprising.
So I actually have two things that I want to see from this team. And the first being, I want to see the return of like prime Daniel Ricciardo as much as we can get. I think having coming into a full season, knowing he's their driver for the full season, I think will do a good amount for his confidence.
Yep.
Obviously, you hope he doesn't break his hand again like he did last year, middle of the season. You hope he doesn't get injured so that way he can keep it going. And I would love to see that just like prime, like Daniel Ricciardo, who is confident in himself, confident in his race abilities.
You want Red Bull.
It shows on track.
Daniel Ricciardo when he goes back to Red Bull. Yeah.
It's exactly what you want. I want to see Red Bull Daniel Ricciardo in a V-Carb because then hopefully we throw him in a Red Bull whenever, and see what happens again. I
mean, he also looked great during testing. I mean, that car looked good. I think it's a carbon copy of, I think it's the long lost twin of RB19, but it's still like that car looks good on track. It will be exciting to see. I mean, I think a lot of people are saying that is going to be, that one could maybe fight for the top of the midfield.
I would,
like right under the top 4 teams.
I would love to see them fight for that upper midfield. Like even in the conversation of like, fourth place, like throw them in that conversation of just like the back end of the front of the field, like
I think it'd be a shock to all.
I think they are going to shock all. And I think that was part of Mark's points was, he feels that they're almost going to emulate Aston Martin at the beginning of the season last year, where they kind of come in, people aren't really expecting it, and people are going to be like, whoa, like check out that RB01, like that's fast, and then the issue is you can't emulate their season too much just because obviously Aston Martin struggled with mid-season development and everything and didn't ruin their car, but definitely fell off where they were from the start of the season.
The hype train was abrupt.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I agree, with what you said when we start. Like, I think they are going to be that sleeper agent kind of after Bahrain. Everybody's going to be like, whoa, like that they're fast,
I think though the minute if they start doing well and they're in the points every weekend and they're performing very well, Zach Brown is coming right to start complaining because he already has, but he will definitely be complaining more.
Yeah, he's been very open about his
Mhm.
complaints with it and everything, and this idea that you know Adrian Newey at Red Bull designs a light speed rocket ship for 1 year for them, and then the next year there's components sent down to AlphaTauri or
Yeah.
or VCarb, because of that, because they're sister teams and because they're co-owned and everything, and I see the legitimate reason for a complaint. I don't know how far he would get in terms of like changing the rules or changing anything within F1 about it, but I see his reason for complaints.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see other teams starting to complain also if they're doing that well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's a Red Bull team, so I can easily see Toto Wolff freaking out and
Yeah,
complaining.
absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There are, and this is kind of going off on a tangent. There are other teams that share parts. Like Ferrari
Oh,
shares their power engines with Sauber and Haas, but no one ever complains about that. I
right.
mean, Mercedes shares their engines with Aston Martin and McLaren. There are teams that work together. I just think because Red Bull and RB or VCarb literally is just like the varsity team versus the JV team in a
Yeah.
sense. But
There's a very clear cut line between the two teams
mhm.
of VCarb is a farm team for Red Bull. And it's like very well known as that. And I see that's where the complaint in it, kind of lies in and of itself. Is just like, okay, it's a little messed up that like these teams are so closely tied and everything, and more than just like, hey, we buy engine parts from Red Bull,
Mhm.
like it certainly raises questions. But yeah, going back, I would love to see, because of hopefully their strong start, I would love to see a very confident Danny Ricciardo come back and
Oh
get in the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
car and perform that way. The other thing that I want to see is I would love to see Yuki Tsunoda finish high hopes P5 this
Ooh,
year. I'm tired of him being stuck in this like P10 perpetuality. Like
he's yeah,
he's
he's
either
always right there.
P10 or he's either plus or minus one. Like he's always P9 to P11, somewhere in that gap. And it's just, I like him. I know people like, I know he can get on some people's nerves with just like how angry he can get sometimes.
Yeah, but I
But
feel like
like,
he's moved away from that a little bit.
yeah, he's trying to he's definitely trying to build sort of like a reputation as not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But like I said, with VCarb, with the car doing so hopefully so well, I would love to see him take that and run with it as best he can. And like I said, really high hopes, a P5 finish would be great. But
Oh,
anywhere like P9 and below is good. It's an improvement.
yeah. They were talking during testing about different drivers and what it would mean, like if they were on the podium in their hometown, and like 'cause they were talking about in Japan and the support for Yuki, and I was like, it does make sense. I was like, I think if they even show it in Drive to Survive, like I feel like it would be genius. Like it would be insane. The scenes would be insane. If Yuki Tsunoda ended up on the podium, I think I would freak out.
Yeah, I would be extremely happy for him to end up on the podium. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, Sarah, you are correct. Honda is leaving Red Bull because they're getting Ford, but Honda
Yeah.
is going to Aston Martin. So that's where people have said, does Yuki end up going to Aston Martin? Because Honda will want Yuki in Aston Martin. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. People have talked about that already before. But yeah,
Which would be cool to see, which would be fantastic to see.
it would be fantastic to see. But that means, because unless Lance Stroll decides he's done, I mean, I don't think Fernando Alonso is retiring anytime soon. So,
No, I don't think
is
he is.
no. But yeah, no, I'm excited for V Carb's potential. See what they can do.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Like I said, I want them to emulate the beginning of the season that Aston Martin had last year, but again, I hope they can keep that momentum from the
Throughout the
beginning
whole
from the beginning of the season, unlike Aston Martin did. and they kind of took over or
I mean,
fell
when you
apart.
think about though,
And
Red Bull is good at bringing upgrades, and they
yeah,
are very connected. So I can see V-Carb also being good at bringing some good upgrades. So,
yeah, it's a very good point.
mhm.
Um, Jumping from V carb, we're gonna go to our favorite car in blue, Williams.
Yes.
Um, what I would love to see again, I have two for these guys. Um, I want to see Alex Albon obviously perform better.
I want to see Alex Albon on a podium. I'm sorry, I
Yes,
want to see him on a podium.
I love his personality. He seems like a very nice guy, and you want to root for him.
Mhm.
And I would love to see him perform at least a little bit better. It's podium would be fantastic, but like I don't know if that would happen. But
Yeah.
what I would like to see, and this is definitely fresh in my mind just because of Drive to Survive, I would love to see Williams and Haas engage in a more of a heated battle from
No, I don't
going
even
into this
think,
year.
and we haven't talked about them yet. I don't even think Williams will be close to Haas and Alpine.
You don't think so?
No, I think Williams is going to be fighting with V-Carb and Aston Martin. I don't know why, I just have hope. And I don't know if it's because of watching Drive to Survive or just like listening to James Vowell speak. He is literally he's an F1 nerd when you listen to him go off about
Yeah.
like the engineering side. He might be the perfect person for Williams.
Yeah.
And this is his second year in the team. This car is completely under him. The three of them with James, Logan, and Alex, I just think they are the perfect trio as well. I'm excited to see Logan improve, see how well he can improve. I do have hope there. I mean, I think they said, I forget how much weight he said that he gained in the off season because he completely changed his
Yeah.
entire workout
Changed
regimens and
everything.
stuff. Yeah, he changed everything. But yeah, no, I maybe I'm delusional, but I have hope for Williams. And yeah, James Val gives me hope.
I
Thank you. Yeah,
definitely
5K. Yeah, 5 kgs of muscle. Logan gained.
that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing James Val and seeing how data driven he was and everything, I agree. I think is the perfect person for Williams to kind of go in and take charge of just like this is where we're at, and this is where with this data that we know we can get. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they definitely want to step up and everything, but they also have started to, and this is in Mark's article, which I think is interesting, they've started downplaying kind of like how much they think they're going to move up because I think they're
Yep.
trying to like temper people's hopes
Like
in
were they
terms of
sandbagging
like,
a little bit? Yeah.
yeah, and pretty much say like, hey, yes, like we want to move up, we think we're going to move up, we want to do better, like all this stuff. However, we're not expecting to be like, fighting for top of the, top spot and
They're like,
everything,
say
like
they're
trying to
not trying to get everyone's hopes up because then if they do
right.
awful, they're not like,
Exactly.
but if they're amazing, everyone's like, oh
Yeah,
my
if
God.
they're amazing, it looks amazing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, Williams, excelled so much this year. They look at this turnaround, and then if they do poorly, in respectively, how whatever that's defined as, it might come off as like, oh well, they did, they wanted to,
Mm.
they told us that Williams podium at Imola. That would be really good to see.
That was supposed to be a track that suited them well last year. No, to put it, this is for Guido Luigi if you're still watching. To put it in
Oh boy.
terms for someone to think of it as the season's Philadelphia Flyers. They weren't supposed to be good. They
Yes.
weren't supposed to be succeeding like this. They weren't supposed to have this fight or whatever. They're supposed to be tanking to get the number 1 draft pick in the upcoming season, but they're beating everyone's expectations a little bit for what they expected. So I kind of see Williams the same way. You're welcome, Guido Luigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see Williams the same way. Like I think they're going to beat everyone's expectations. But
I agree.
people
And
have
I
said.
think the other part of what I want to see with them is I really, really need Logan Sargent to beat everybody's expectations and improve this year. Not part of it is a little bit of just because he's the only American on the grid, and it would be really cool to see him stay there.
Yes.
It's also, you had that statement of James Vowles come out saying, like, we're sticking with Logan. We believe in him. We trust him. We're going to give him another shot. That in and of itself is like a double-edged sword because it is, like, if I don't perform, I'm at a serious risk of losing my job. Not that he wasn't already, but now he's got James Vowles' word on the line there.
Well, and if you see like Mark's article from the launch, seeing how James spoke about Logan, hearing how James spoke about Logan during testing, James believes in him. He has confidence in them. And I mean, Logan was doing well at the end of the last season. Like the last few races, he was there. He was qualifying well. He was doing well. It was, again, that car also sucked with race pace, so it died off. But yeah, this is a good. I've watched highlights. It would be good to see this Logan again. If he can, race good against Oscar, but
I think he will be much better because this is his second year now in F1. He has the experience and he has the knowledge of what this season is like and everything. And he already did it. He's made these changes that you would think are reflective of like, okay, this is what I thought I would need, but turns out this is what I actually needed. And
yeah,
I made those changes and I'm getting ready for the season.
I mean, he was a rookie. I feel like he had a decent rookie season. Did they have some crashes? Yes, of course he did. But I don't think he was as awful as Nick DeVries.
No.
I mean, and you can't compare him to Oscar. Oscar's like a once in a blue moon. Like he had an amazing rookie season, but I think I want Logan to do well also. I don't want him to end up losing his seat. I want him to stay, but yeah, I hope he can do well.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that I feel like the general gist for these teams kind of in the backfield is just a general idea of just like, I hope they get better. I hope they can improve because I want to see more racing. And, we all want to see more tight racing between everybody. Like I'm hoping it's a lot of fun. But moving kind of up more towards the midfield now, we're jumping to Alpine, my least favorite team right now.
To the team that has come out and flat out say the past 2 days or something yesterday that they're going to suck. Like they have have the slowest car on the grid. That's why I said I think Williams can easily get ahead of those two. I think the fight at the back is going to be between Haas and Alpine. I'll say it now. But
I don't have a lot for them. I literally have 2 sentences, and that's
how we feel about Alpine.
That's pretty much 1 sentence for my thoughts and 1 sentence for Mark's thoughts because they're really just in this like gray area where it's like we're almost to.
It's a good name. Alpine.
Like they're in this like limbo area where it's like they're not good enough to compete with like McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, like them.
They're not even close.
And then they're too fast to be considered part of like Haas, Williams, like that crew down there. They
used to, but
right. But it's just like so that's the thing. Like this is honestly going to be really good. Mark's thoughts on this was they just need to do whatever they can to escape the middle of the road or the middle of the pack and whatever that is. And what I want to see from them is I want to see some more goddamn color on their freaking car.
No one can see you today. Have a freak out.
That's what I want. still so upset about that, and I'm still so annoyed about it. So like that's literally like as soon as I was writing out my notes today, and I was like, huh, what do I want to see from Alpine on their car? And then I was like,
More
or what do
color.
I want to see from Alpine this season? I was like, more fucking color on their car. Like it just like immediately came to me. But it was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, they are just stuck in this limbo area, and they just need to do whatever they can to escape that limbo area. And
I also feel like it needs to come from within their team. I still think they're a mess of a team.
yeah,
I'm sorry to that whole entire investor crew that decided to put some money on that team, but Alpine I think is a mess within. Um, and I think they need to figure that out. I mean, also going back to their car launch, the after this news came out about how they said they're the slowest car on the team, that meme immediately came back up of their faces when they unveiled the car. Because people are
yeah,
like, no wonder why they look like that. They knew then. Like,
yeah. They knew that they were screwed then. Like,
Chris, Pierre's contract is up this this year also. Um, both Alpine
bring
drivers
back
are up this year.
Cyril. Bring back Cyril. Yeah, let's bring it. Let's bring him back.
Yeah,
Bring back Renault as a team.
in general. Yeah,
But
both Pierre and Essie are up at the end of this year.
yeah, I just like I said that. I mean, that's literally all I have is for Alpine. Is just
And I
like
feel like that's all they deserve.
that is all they deserve. Pieces of shit lied to all of us. Like, and it's just you just need to do. They need to do something. They need to change something.
Yeah.
Alpine, and I don't know what it is. I'll say it for the fact of the joke. They need to change their car, but they need to do something to create an identity for themselves. Because right now, they are just like they're nothing. They're literally just like limbo.
And then you think about it, like Pierre Gasly thought he was escaping. I mean, he literally says it in the first Alpine episode because for some reason they got two.
Yeah. Well, also why? Why did they
I
get
don't
two
know.
episodes?
I don't know. I could go off. On Drive to Survive. Like it's a whole episode itself. But he said he literally left AlphaTauri because he knew he wasn't going to be able to win in that car, and now he's with
Yeah.
Alpine and he's not winning in that car. I mean, his
He's not.
sprint podium and stuff last year was great, but this car, it looks awful, and
Yeah.
it's all carbon fiber.
It does not look good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is
then
exactly what they get for promising the camo and not providing.
yeah, absolutely.
Karma is a bitch.
But jumping from
Yeah, let's move on from them.
no car with or a car with no color to a car with a good amount of color, Aston Martin. I personally, this I actually had some stuff for them too. It was, I would love to see. It kind of goes like step and step. I would love to see Stroll take a step up in terms of his ability and everything, because Drive to Survive did remind me that he has a pretty talented history in terms of driving and everything.
Yeah.
Lance, and it's like I want to see that again, and then from there, because I want him to step up, I want to see him and Alonso have a little bit more of a tighter race between each other, like an inter-team competition. It's just, I think that would also really drive Lance Stroll to perform better, because I feel like I feel like he's kind of stuck in this role right now, and it's 100% just because of the age of them and the experience of them, that Fernando is the mentor and Lance is the mentee. And it's if you could switch the narrative of these guys are partners and they're teammates and everything, I feel like it would be a lot better for Lance in terms of his mindset of just like, I am a driver for this team, so I am gonna perform, and
people, Lance needs to prove himself so people don't just use that he's a Nepo baby all the time. Like,
yeah.
like that's what people use for him all the time now, because he's not performing well at all. I do need something more from him. So we don't have to hear those rumors again from last year, like he's going and becoming a professional tennis player.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I need more for him. I think Alonso is going to be fine. I feel like he'll be fighting for podium points again. And if they can keep up, if they can keep with the momentum and not drop off like they did last year, like if they get good upgrades and they can continue to improve race after race, they're a threat. I think they're a threat.
Yeah. I said the other thing I wanted, and this also kind of falls into the Yuki high hopes thing. It was I would love to see Fernando on top of a podium again. Like I would love to see him as a race winner
Mm-hmm.
again. I know that that's a big ask just because of Red Bull and Max,
Yeah.
but it would be so cool to see. But it yeah, and it's just like that's I mean, Mark wrote what he thinks they need to do, and everybody's going to agree on this because it's literally the opposite of what they did last year. Is they need to figure out the midseason development
Yes, they
and
do.
and ace it really well. Because if they start off this year again strong and then fall
Continue.
flat
Oh, fall
after the
flat.
break, people are going to start writing them off and they're going to kind of fall back into that slot of like not a serious contender again. When last year, when they came in, people were like, oh, Aston Martin's back. Like, like it's going to be so good. It's going to be so awesome. And Lawrence Stroll really was building towards a world championship team. And
Yeah.
he might lose all of that,
No, I think also going back to Lance, I would love to know, it's obviously, if we could go back in time and he didn't break his wrist,
Yeah.
and how well I feel like he would have started off the season well last year if he didn't break his wrist, if he wasn't struggling with the car, because that car was amazing. I mean, I feel like both of them probably would have been fighting for podium points,
Yeah.
the Aston Martin. So it does, if they can start off that well and Lance Stroll is 100%, I think that might be dangerous.
I think it would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, they need to work on their upgrades. That's literally, if they can figure out good upgrades, they'll be fine.
yeah, and like Chris said, they took this gigantic step back after their first set of upgrades last year, and it's just they cannot afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds stupid when I'm saying it because it's like you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, no shit, they can't do that. But it's like,
Yeah, but they did it
especially
last year.
after last year, that you can't do it again. You need
No.
to show some signs of continuing your beginning of the year momentum throughout the season instead
Yeah.
of just like, hey, we're introducing an upgrade package and then it's nothing. Like it doesn't help you at all. So that's basically it with Aston Martin. It's just like they just need to hopefully they can recapture that speed and skill that they had in the beginning of the season and just carry that all through.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
just yeah. So that's with them going to now their
Your
direct
fave?
competitors from last year and my favorites.
He is wearing the hat, but we
McLaren.
can't see him anymore.
I am wearing the hat. You can't see it anymore. That's why I put the logo there, so you guys know I'm still supporting. But I would. There's two things that I want to see here. One, obviously, Lando Norris's first race win. I know that's out of the question, but I would love
No,
to
yeah.
see it. And guess what? When we do the 2025 season preview, and if he doesn't have his race win yet, this is still going to be here.
It's going to be your prediction until it actually happens.
Yes, it's going to be my prediction until it actually happens. The other thing that I want to see is, again, a general improvement from last year for both of our drivers. I want to see a top 5 finish for Lando. He was 6th last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see a top 7 finish for Oscar. He was 9th last year.
Okay.
I would.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, they kind of have the opposite story of McLaren or
Yeah,
from
this
Aston
is where I
Martin.
was going.
It's just they just need to carry over their momentum from the end of the season last year. And it looks like they're going to from preseason testing, but obviously you never know. And, shit happens during the race and whatnot. And
Steering wheel boots out again.
yeah, your steering wheel needs a Windows update when you run it. I watched that episode on Drive to Survive, and I got mad again. Like I was just just stupid. But like also at the same time, it's like
because you know how they
if you
finished.
yeah, and it's you know how they finish, but at the same time, I think it's also seeing those behind the scenes things of like they knew they were going to be pretty crappy, and like you obviously hear that during preseason testing. Like last year, Lando literally said like the car is not where we want it to be right now. But
No, yeah, and if you like when they were having issues during testing and they kept showing Lando and like Oscar, they didn't look worried.
yeah,
They looked okay. Yeah, no, I need them to start off strong and keep going strong. Um, I think an interesting storyline to watch out for is if Oscar performs well or better than Lando.
that would be really interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
That would
And
be because it's not out of the question.
no, it's not
I
out of
don't
the
think it's
question.
out of the question.
It's not out of the question at all. I really think, I mean, it's Oscar. I think he could. They are a very cohesive team. That's what Casper just said. But I think Oscar has it. I think he could do it. I would
Yeah,
not be surprised. Oh, this is a good question from Linus.
I just
Do you
saw this from
think
Linus too.
McLaren would prefer race wins and a fourth in the championship, or no wins and second in the championship? This is a great question.
That is, hmm.
Thinking.
I genuinely think I would say race wins and fourth in the championship because
Wait,
I think that getting like let's do the split evenly. You got 2 race wins, one for Lando, one for Oscar, right?
mm-hmm.
Let's say that miracle happens. I think you then take that and fourth in the world championship, and you can still say we improved this year. Like, yes, we didn't go move up in the world, in the constructors championship, but look, our drivers got their first race wins. Look at how
Yeah, I
many
think it would
points that
do
got us.
well
Look, like
for team morale, if that makes like,
exactly.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, this is also they did. I also agree they didn't really sound optimistic, but I always think of Lando during race weekend. He always downplays it.
Yeah,
Like when he's being interviewed after a quali or a practice session, he's always like, "I don't know how we're gonna do," and then they end up going and like killing it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if, like I said, if they expected Ferrari to be that quick. Um, Also, Oscar, yeah, struggled with his tire management. That is something that Oscar needs to work on, and that's where his inexperience comes in.
Yeah.
Oscar. Um, but I do think it's something that he can get a hold of and still perform well.
It's definitely I like now you got me stuck on this Oscar beating Lando scenario in my head because I'm thinking about it and it's like to me all the signs are really pointing to him being able to do it because he is a very good driver. He's obviously done his his rookie season now, so he knows what an F1 season is like, similar to Logan Sargent.
Yeah.
He knows Lando's driving style. He's in a much more competitive car than they were at the beginning of last year. Like his confidence just has to be through the roof for both drivers. But that would be so interesting to see. Like it's just
No, this is good
interesting. None of us.
because I feel like we all have confidence in McLaren. It's not like McLaren of Lando and Daniel Ricciardo days. Like I feel like they got their shit together. They
Yeah,
they had success last year and they know what I think can take. I think Stella is a great person to have in charge besides Zach Brown. But yeah, no, I think they know what they can do. They know what needs to be fixed in their car so they don't have the issues they did last year. Um, but yeah, it will be interesting to see how well they do.
um, yeah. I think it's and going kind of off of what Casper's saying too. Like there is the real threat that McLaren could pull the same route that Aston Martin did last year, and it's come out strong, and then hey, let's introduce a couple changes to the car, and oh crap, we made it worse. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely that risk. Like I don't want to sit here and say like McLaren's so perfect, McLaren's going to be perfect this year and it's going to be an all positive year and everything. Like no, there will be things that go wrong for McLaren. There will be issues and everything that happen throughout the year. But I do think coming in from last year, they are in a 10 times much better spot than where they were last year. And that's kind of why I'm just saying, like, they're just going to have so many more positives this year. Because it feels that way, too. Because like we said, Oscar and Lando were pretty positive during preseason testing. The results of preseason testing shows right now that they're carrying over the momentum that they had. And that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Go McLaren.
But
there, I said it.
Go McLaren. Go McLaren. But now we're going to go to Casey's favorites.
Woohoo!
So Ferrari.
And I'm delusional.
Casey's delusional. You're not so much delusional now that preseason testing's done and they came out hot, Ferrari.
Yeah, they did come out hot.
I think
in Fred we trust.
In Fred we trust. What I want, and you're gonna like this case, I want to see the Charles Leclerc that we know he can be in terms of his driving skill and his race performance and everything. I would love to see that because he struggled for so long under kind of like a shitty Ferrari regime that now it's kind of like, hey, you got a good thing going right now. You know, you've got Fred, you've got the SF24 that's obviously much better than the 23. Much better. Like,
I mean, there was an interview that came out right before testing. I can't remember who it was with. Said that Charles Leclerc got out of the car at testing, looked at someone and said, "That's the worst car I've ever drove."
Yeah, that's it.
Linus, you bring up a great point, okay? Owen can convince you.
I'm yet to be convinced whether Casey's a Ferrari fan or just a Charles fan. It's just a Charles fan. It's just a Charles fan. If Charles did something similar that Lewis just did with jumping ship from Mercedes to Ferrari,
jumping ship.
Casey would jump ship to whatever team Charles would go to.
Listen, okay, there's people here. It's live, okay? I'll say this now. I am a Ferrari fan. Okay? I'm a Ferrari fan through and through. Carlos is just not my favorite person. He's not my favorite driver. He's not my favorite teammate of Charles Leclerc. There, that's it. I'm not a Carlos Sainz hater, like Owen likes to say. But yeah, no, I also agree. I think this might be if Red Bull's out of the picture, this would probably be the best car that Charles Leclerc's had yet, maybe. I also saw someone say, like, how much of Charles Leclerc's career was wasted under Mattia Binotto.
Yeah.
Like, how much of it was wasted and thrown out the window. I also, like I said, in Fred we trust, he's made so many different changes within the team. In regards to bringing in new people for the car development, and I said it so many times last year, that car last year was not Fred's. It was Mattia's. And you could tell the minute Fred started making updates and upgrades, it worked well. So I have good hopes that this car, the SF24, completely under Fred's leadership, will be good. I mean, if you look at their race pace, and they probably weren't even using all their potential from, like, they didn't just have good, like, one-lap quali speed, like we said the Haas have issues with in testing. Their long runs looked good, and then people were saying that their tire deg looked good. So, yeah, no, I have hopes. I mean, this one Charles Leclerc win Monaco. Is that too much to ask for?
Yeah. But the other thing I want to see is I don't know what it is. I don't know what it'll be, whether it's a race win, whether it's he, trashes the Ferrari garage or whatever it is, right? I want to see Carlos Sainz do something like really funny and really cool just for his last season.
Oh.
Like I'm saying, like I want something to happen with Carlos Sainz. I want there to be some breaking story, like I said, whether he wins a race, whether he burns down the entire garage, like whatever it is. I just want him to do something stupid and funny and cool for his last season.
It goes out with a bang.
Right.
His last season with Ferrari, Casper. His last season with Ferrari.
Casper. His last season with Ferrari, and kind of almost in a way, it's just be like, I'm just sticking 2 middle fingers up,
Well, I mean, yeah, I've said this before. If you listen to early episodes last year, that's why I don't think he's the best team player, Carlos Sainz, and just in things that you've learned, how Ferrari runs their practice sessions and how one driver gets priority. Like every other week, they flip flop, and you could tell when it wasn't Carlos's priority weekend. I don't think he doesn't listen to his strategy anyway. He makes up his own strategy. People say he's a strategy king, but I mean, yeah, I don't I can see him being a like 100% team player, or he doesn't be a team player.
All right.
And I can see if the fight between those two is close by the end, like in places, like what does Carlos have to lose?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
he's
that's a
I
great
mean,
point.
he's Carlos is unemployed. He is basically showing every other team on the grid what he can do. And
Right.
if they're prioritizing Charles like we think they're going to be prioritizing Charles, he's just gonna I think he'll start driving pretty not recklessly, but giving it all he's got. And just goes crazy.
Yeah. I also think Linus hit the nail on the head of what I want. That's what I want. I want him to win
Yeah.
the race and take his race suit off and go to the podium shirtless. That's exactly what I want. Um,
And I see Sarah saying better strategist than anyone on the Ferrari pit wall. Yes and no.
here comes
um
the hate.
no, it's not the hate. It's just I see this all the time, and they're both great strategists. They're literally both great strategists. I think what's that say? If Carlos wants a chance at the Red Bull seat, I think showing he's not a team player won't help. I also don't think Carlos is going back to Red Bull. We've talked about this
No.
before, but I I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Carlos Sainz. I don't know. I don't want my judgment to be clouded, but yeah, no. Both I've said this before. Carlos and Charles were never going to be good teammates because they have two different driving styles. So you can't have a car being developed in one way while it needs to go the other way. Like it doesn't make
Right.
sense for that driver. Um, I think you can see in the data from last year with Ferrari that car at the beginning of the season was not for Charles Leclerc. That was Carlos Sainz's car. But Charles
Yeah.
Leclerc worked his ass off to improve his driving style. And then when upgrades were starting to be made to help steer it, I think, more towards Charles Leclerc's driving style, that's when we got some complaining from Carlos Sainz. But
Right.
that's it. I'm not a hater.
Oh boy. Well, we'll change the topic a little bit.
I'm not a
The
hater.
thing that Mark thinks for Ferrari this year is essentially this isn't going to be your main focus of the season because you still want to win the season with the drivers that you have, but with Lewis coming 2 years from now in 2025, they almost have to do everything in their power to overcome like the memes about their strategies and the memes about the pit stops and everything and kind of erase that reputation. So that way, when Lewis gets there in 2025, they can be seen as a serious competitor to the Constructors' Championship and everything. And Charles and Lewis can be seen as serious competitors for the Drivers' Championships. And it's just, it's like I said, Ferrari can't just scratch this season and be like, oh, well, we're getting Lewis next year.
Yeah, I don't think they're just scratching this season at all.
But they have to they have to agree with that, or they have to keep that in mind somehow. It's how do we perform the best to set ourselves up for next year when either next year 2025 or 2026 is when they're really targeting in their head of like that's when we're going to go after the championship.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, Sarah. I don't agree with her point, saying that has built this car and team around Charles included. And that's just not me being a Charles fan. Charles does need to deliver. Guido Luigi. But going back to this comment, this is why McLaren are lucky. This is why McLaren has, and we've talked about this a million times, this is why McLaren can develop a car in one direction and succeed, because both of their drivers have similar driving styles. And that works. That's why it doesn't work for Red Bull, but for Red Bull, they just do it in Max Verstappen's driving style and say, sorry, Checo, good luck. Better luck next time. I don't believe this. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into play. I mean, he did win. He did take the car and win in Singapore, but at the same time, Red Bull just didn't have it together that weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't agree that it's always been Charles' team. When Charles was first brought on, that was Seb's team. And I don't think Charles got along with Mattia Bonanno maybe great. And then you have some political things on the inside of the team with certain sponsors, I think, that come to play, because there's a history of that with former teams. So I'll end it there. But yeah. So good opinion. This is literally a fight that people have all the time, all over the internet, about Charles fans and Carlos fans go head to head. But yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, it's such a heated kind of debate or discussion back and forth right now of who was the number one driver at Ferrari and everything. And we kind of touched on this. We talked about this in another episode too, of like what happened. Does this whole thing just kind of go back into a loop when Lewis joins the team? Because it's now you have Lewis and Charles on a team, and it's like, okay, who's your number one driver? And it's like, yes, there are teams that can operate under the like ability of being like, we don't have a number one, number two driver, but Ferrari, I think, does and has always kind of done that, and it's always kind of been a blurry line. They've never really done a great job of separating that. And I think while the addition of Lewis is fantastic and it's such a powerful move for Ferrari, it just blurs that line even more. Unless they really start bringing the mentality of like, we don't have a number one, number two, here we go. We kind of meet in the middle of the road for our car, in terms for Lewis and Charles and everything. And we go from there,
I think I have to, this is a good question. Do you think they have a number one, or take whoever's for this year? I think with the way the car is, I think if we see after the first race, but I think for this year, they probably have one clear driver in mind. For next year, I also don't know if I've ever paid attention to cars or the driving style of Lewis. Like, if they are similar, then it's going to work well, like McLaren, with that. But I also can see them, when Lewis joins the team, that they wait and see who starts to do well, and then they go in that direction, or then they start prioritizing one driver over the other.
Right.
I don't mean to go back, but I'm not crediting Carlos's win in Singapore. It was a great win. The teamwork, yes, the DRS train between him and Lando, and there's some weird unspoken rule, should have been given more credit in Drive to Survive also. But there was a lot of things at play there as well. There was teamwork from Ferrari that worked. Like, Charles did hold up the rest of the back. But yes, at the same time, Carlos drove his ass off that weekend, and I don't discredit his win.
I do like Sarah's comment there, where she says basically Ferrari is going to continue to try to straddle the middle line and therefore will continue to fail. That is the fear. It's like, is this idea of we don't have a number one and number two going to keep being a struggle for Ferrari?
And that's why I think I need to I think I need to pay attention this season to Lewis's driving style more, because like I said, if it's similar to Charles, if they like the same kind of like if it's a more oversteery car compared to a understeery car, then if they're more similar, it I think would work well, like a McLaren did. But yeah, no, they can't. The straddling the middle line and being like, well, we don't have a number one, is never going to work. Like, pick one and move forward. Pick one and move forward. But yeah, we can move on from
Well, yeah, I think you get to a point of with Ferrari, you're just kind of talking in circles of just, oh, well, what if they do this, or what if they do that, and what if they do this, and then it just loops,
Mm,
it keeps going around and around. So we'll leave it at that. Like we said, I'm interested to see Ferrari this year, kind of do what they can to set themselves up for having a good year this year, and also set themselves up for Lewis joining next year, and really kind of then
yeah, because
targeting, like I said, either 25 or 26 to be, all right, this is the year we're going
yeah,
after it. You know,
it's like I said with Carlos and how he's basically auditioning for other teams. Ferrari wants to show Lewis that they are committed and like can work hard or whatever. Like it's not like I
right?
know Ferrari has a very like their history and stuff, but they are bringing over the 7th world time
Yeah,
champion. He could be 8th. Like yeah, they're not just they want to make it all look all shiny and brand new and nice, but
exactly.
hmm
Um, but going over to Mercedes, the two things that I really need to see from them is a, how are they going to overcome this Lewis leaving storyline? You know,
yeah.
like it is going to be everything they do this year. Let's say they win a race this year, right? Regardless of whether it's George or Lewis, right? Immediately kind of overshadowed by Lewis leaving. You know, it's just this year is kind of just this year is living under that shadow for them
hmm
of just, this is Lewis's last year with Ferrari, you know, or this is Lewis's last year with Mercedes. You know, everything is going to loop back to that topic of conversation of just Lewis is leaving Mercedes. And kind of going hand in hand with that is, I want to see them overcome that storyline. And I think part
Yeah,
of the way
that's
they could do that, and it is part of Georgia's responsibility too. Yeah, Casper, yeah, 100% right. But part of the other thing that they can use to get over the storyline is really seeing George Russell step up into this, I'm the number one driver role,
yeah,
you
he'll be
know,
the
and
leader. Like
yeah, and I'm the veteran of this team, and I really need to step up and prove that I can handle that role and everything. And I agree with you, Chris. It's perfect
mhm.
moment. He had some really good moments last year and of racing and everything, and he has shown in these, I'm going to steal Chris's word, flashes, that he can think on his feet as a leader and prove that in the moment of his of racing and everything, he can analyze the situation. And he just needs to do that again this year, and he needs to do it a little bit more prominently. And I think part of Lewis's, I'll say, pushing out, for lack of a better term, will I think cause George to mold into that role a little bit naturally, because obviously they're pushing Lewis out, they're going to turn to George. But part of it also has to be, you know, him. And it's like, you know, it's like a hockey player being named captain of the team. Like, yes,
Yeah.
you getting that C and being named leader of the team in front of everybody gets you one foot in the door, but it's the other, you have to take that other step in terms of getting it and getting the respect of your team and crew and everything, because you can be a captain and because you can be the number one leader.
Yeah.
You know, it's, they really
So
need to,
no, good. Good. Sorry.
he needs to figure it out however he does it, whether that's, you know, performing a little bit more consistently in races, whether that is, you know, being, I don't know, I want to say smarter, but like, he's not like a dumb guy. But
Yeah, well, bringing up Jake's comment, no more Singapores. You know exactly what
yes,
we're talking about when we say no more Singapores. Yeah,
yeah,
like that's yeah, he needs to become a little more I mean, in some not to bring it back up, in some aspects, George and Charles were kind of similar because they try and push their cars
yeah.
to the brink and then will veer off and crash or make mistakes. So yeah, George needs to maybe not rein it in a little bit, but just like I don't know
No,
what I'm trying. They just
I
like
think,
he needs to get it under control because, like we said, he will be the leader of this team. And we brought
yeah,
it up before. I think no matter how well they do this season, like if they're doing well, and I mean they were pretty good during testing. I said this earlier. I said they kind of flew under the radar. They weren't really talked about like they were kind of mentioned, but they weren't like being the real focus of testing. And then sometimes I was even like, where is Mercedes? And then you look at the leaderboard and they're like second and third with their times.
Right.
So I think I think they can do well. I think the car is good, and I saw that they weren't using their full power either, but it will be interesting as I get towards the end of the season and communication is slowly cut off on Lewis's side.
Yeah. I
Like,
think. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, I'm done.
it definitely is like he just needs to going kind of about what you were saying in the beginning. Like I feel like saying you need to rein it in is almost pretty like hitting the nail on the head. And
Mhm.
Like I'm thinking exclusively about Singapore. I mean, think of that race moment. He is pushing the cars as hard as he can to try to find a gap and to take and overtake and get more points and all this stuff. And then he ends up crashing and you get no points. And it's like, to me, as a leader in that position, I would almost say I forget what position he was in, like third or fourth,
For
like
what? At the
for
end of the
Singapore when he crashed. Yeah.
he should
Like,
have ended on the podium.
right. So like me be like leader George needs to be in that mindset of just like I'm at third. This is a podium race for us. This would be huge. I'm gonna not chill, but I'm not gonna be pushing the car to the limit so that way I lose control. I'm gonna have a
Mhm.
nice clean race to finish this out and end on the podium. I understand that it's easier said than done, because he's in the middle of a race. He just wants to do better and better and go faster and faster. But yeah, Jake, he was just
Yeah.
overdriving the car, and that's what caused him to crash and lose out. So I need to see the physical difference in the terms of he's in a moment like that and he stops and thinks to himself, okay, where am I at? And if that's good enough for right now, I would rather get secured points, albeit less points than I want, but
Mhm.
secured points rather than, oh shit, now I just accidentally sent the car into a wall and I'm getting no points.
It's like he needs maybe like a change in his mentality during races in
Yeah.
order for those split second decisions. But I think that also needs to happen because like we said, so he can move into that leadership mentality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
With Lewis
He
being gone.
definitely needs a little bit, I would say, race maturity in terms of it's not all like, yes, it's about winning, but again, at the same time, and I'm gonna go right back to Jake's comment because I think it's literally perfect. He was in that moment, he was consumed with trying to win that race and overtake, and
Mhm.
he overdrove the car into a wall when he was in third. He would have it would have been podium. It would have been such a good moment for Mercedes, especially since
Mhm.
because the person right in front of him was Lewis. Like
Yeah,
he
true.
literally
Should have been
it would have
double
been
podium.
race 3, like that's just he needs that race maturity to just
No, was he
stop in
gonna
that
be on the
moment.
podium?
I thought he was. He was either going to be third or fourth.
I'm looking it
But
up. Continue.
still, like that's still good points, like and it's he should have stopped in that moment and realized, and I think that's just what he needs to grow in order to what is it? In order to develop into this leader role for
Yeah,
Mercedes.
he was chasing Lando for P2. So he was in
Oh, it
P3.
was Lando in
When he
front of him. Yeah,
crashed, that's how Lewis got on the podium.
right. It's just yeah. But sorry, I said it was Lewis in front of him earlier. It was Lando.
It was Lando. Yeah, because Lando and Carlos were P1 and P2.
But it's just yeah, it's moments like that that I definitely want to see from George this year going into next year and growing and taking over that role of
Mhm.
I know what I'm doing. I can be a leader in this team and I'm here to show it and I can show it, you know. And it's yeah, that's what I would like to see from him. Mark's comments were very similar. And the only other thing too was just how can Mercedes send off Lewis in a meaningful way?
Yep.
And is that going to happen? We don't know. Like what? How is it all going to play out for Lewis's last season? That's obviously a storyline to watch for this year.
No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see what the end of the season's like for Mercedes.
Yeah, but that was our thoughts on Mercedes. Obviously, we have one more team left.
And I can tell you my thoughts on them right now. They're going to win 24 races.
I jokingly wrote here, so I literally wrote, like, in notes, I would write my name and then what I thought, and then I would write Mark's name and write what I thought. I literally put Mark and Owen. Oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah.
And
no, we don't even need to talk about Red Bull.
the only thing I would like to say about Red Bull is, if I'm gonna see anything from them this year, I want to see a perfect season. I want to see a perfect season for Max.
Oh, yeah. And I think probably the biggest question is Checo. Does he continue to struggle, or does he get it together and succeed? Or does he suck, and we know Red Bull, and they switch him out halfway through the season, and that's how Daniel Ricciardo gets back to Red Bull.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably the most, let's pretend Max doesn't exist. Start practicing your Dutch national anthem.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be, that car, Adrian Newey's a genius. That car is more of a rocket than I think RB19 was. But yeah, no, that's the biggest. I think literally, if Red Bull has any questions, the question is just Checo.
Yeah.
That's literally the question.
That's even if Checo performed, 10% better than what he did last year, he would still be the question mark. That's just because of Max. Like, he is opposite of Ferrari. It is very clear that Max is number one driver and Checo's number two. And it's just...
And that's never going to change.
Yeah, that's never going to change, because Red Bull has the chance here. I genuinely believe that we are in the beginning stages of watching Max go on a 7, 8, 10-year run of just winning driver championships and everything. Like, we are in the very beginning of that, and Red Bull will never let Max go. It's never going to happen, and it's just, that's the thing. It's you do have to talk about them a little bit, but like we said, we all know how it's going to go this year, and it's just, like I said, if I'm gonna see Red Bull dominance, I want to see Red Bull dominance for the entire season, and I want to see Max get that perfect season.
Yeah. Tiff, I see your comment. He is at the moment, but the investigation. Her comment is Horner still team principal? He is at the moment, but the investigation has wrapped up, and it said that we could expect a decision sometime in the next few days. And I also said this yesterday to a few people. If he is to be let go, Horner, I don't think that, like, Horner's not, the team is running itself, if that makes sense. There's multiple people inside that team, with Newey, with Hannah, with Max. Like, I think they'll be okay. Would it be, but yeah, no, I don't think that would be an issue, unfortunately, but yeah, no, it would. Like I said, the only question I have on Red Bull is Checo. It's literally my only question and concern. Max is easily, I think, could get the 24 race win.
Yeah, and I think he could definitely get 30+
seconds. I think there are people that could get pole position. I don't think he gets every pole position. I think between Charles, Lewis, George, the McLaren boys, I think they could get the pole position. But yeah, no, right off that start, there's Max, and he's watching the rest of the race on the screen. But yeah, Red Bull.
But that's all the notes I had.
We could,
like I said, I'm very excited for this team, or the season. I watched the Watching the McLaren episode on Drive to Survive the other day, like, made me really, really ready for the season to start and begin. And I'm like
Mm-hmm.
so bummed just because I'm not going to be able to watch the race live on Saturday. But I'm so excited. Like, all I want to do is just make it to Sunday morning because I know I'm just going to like wake up, get my
Just like
coffee,
a
and the first
normal
thing
race. Yeah.
and the first thing I do that day is watch the race. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy because I still can watch practice and I can watch qualifying and everything on Thursday and Friday. So I'm thrilled I get to do that. But I'm so beyond excited for this year to start. And thank you, Casper.
Do we want to give predictions
Yeah.
for the race?
Oh,
For the
wow.
race.
I
For the
forgot we
race.
did this.
I know we gave predictions last year.
We haven't given predictions in so long.
I know it's been a while. We can just do. What do we do? Both? Do you want to do quali and then the race, or just the race?
Let's just do just the race.
Okay. You want me to go first, or you go first?
Yeah, you go first because I got to think about this.
Oh, I'm also ready to see the new driver introductions. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Bahrain GP. I'm not gonna go delusional. I'm not there yet. Max P1.
Classic.
I'm gonna go Charles P2, and let's do Lando P3. We're probably gonna be the same.
No, I mean, I was going to say, I'm going to put the good vibes out there for the beginning of the year. I'm going to go Max P1, Lando P2. And I'll go, you know what? I'll go Charles P3.
Okay, so
not?
Lando and Charles are switched for.
Yeah, just flip
Okay.
Lando and Charles. But I'll throw our favorites in there.
Yeah.
But
hey, we're back, people.
We're back.
Yeah, but if anyone else has any other questions that you want us to hit before what's it called? We end this. Thank you for sticking around for this long with our technical difficulties also.
Be an episode without us having technical difficulties.
That was always a video with us having technical difficulties. But yeah, this was a good one. But I don't know what I was just gonna say. See, other people are delusional with us.
Max, Lando, Charles is also mine. I am delusional. I don't think that's like that out of the question though. Like that. I mean,
No.
it's very doable compared going off of preseason testing times and everything. And yeah, the only other wild card I think you could throw in there is just Checo, because he could be in second because of the car, but he could also be Checo and not perform that well, you know?
Or yeah, this is not a McLaren track.
Not
that
a
is
McLaren
a good
track.
That is a good point. I mean, from what we've seen of testing, could we see a Mercedes on there too? Like, I feel like the top 6 could be 6 different teams. I'm gonna go out. Like, I feel like it could be a mix of the entire grid. Like the top 10 and stuff. It would be a good showing. But yeah, I mean, Max is winning, so there's no question.
I do like Linus's right there. Max, Charles, Checo. That's a good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I do like that lineup, but
I do have to say, in Mark's article, he gave his World Constructors predictions and World Drivers Championship predictions, and he has Ferrari in second for Constructors and Charles in second for Drivers Championship.
That's a good point. Should we read those off?
No, I don't. No, we can. I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, we could give our own if we wanted, but I mean, I posted our constructors the other day with that graphic.
Mark also does have Lando getting 4th in Drivers' Championship, so I'm happy with that. He has him beating out Sergio Perez.
Yeah, I think that's.
If Lando gets a podium, how many people does Zach Brown high five? The entire McLaren crew.
Yeah, I think he's high-fiving, and then everyone on the way to the podium, because he was booking it in that episode.
He was moving, which I don't blame him. You know,
no, I don't blame him either.
I would. I also didn't realize. I didn't realize that him and Lando have a longer history than just.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Than just racing, so that was kind of cool to see, and understandable why he was so excited when the beginning of the turnaround started for McLaren last year. You know.
Yeah, gotta go see my boy. He was a proud dad in that
Yeah.
one moment.
He literally was like, I haven't waited this long to walk to the podium. Like,
yeah. And how many people, if Williams was to make the podium, how many people does James Vowell say good morning to?
oh my God, that was the best clip of him just walking through the
Morning.
office and every
Morning.
person, morning, morning, morning. And
Morning.
he's saying it the exact same way too. Like,
But yeah, I don't think anything else, anyone? I don't think, yeah, I don't think
he's
anything
saying
else we
goodnight,
need to
but
time we got to the podium. Yeah, true, especially in
yeah,
Bahrain or like Jeddah. But yes, friendly reminder, I posted it earlier, the race is on Saturday this week and next week. Don't
yes, it
forget.
is
um,
Saturday.
but yes, so anything else, Owen? Are we good to close it off? I
I
can
got
close it.
nothing. Just wanted to
Okay.
thank everybody for putting up with my technical difficulties and hanging around this long.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us for our 2024 season preview live episode. It's been amazing having you all here this entire time, and I know we have friends in different time zones, so I appreciate you guys staying up
Yes,
and
thank you so much.
doing this and talking to us. So thank you so much. Um,
Come on.
yes, still Owen joined Threads.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
well, listen, if you're watching Jeddah, because I won't be here, you will have Owen on Threads with you.
Yes.
So, posting and stuff. But yeah, so thank you all so much for joining and listening along to us, looking at me and listening to Owen. As always, please go give us a follow over on Instagram and Threads. I know that's where y'all came from, at Underground F1, and then over on X or Twitter, where Owen is at underground underscore F1. Please leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Please make sure to give Underground Sports of subscribe on YouTube as well. We can find a show for literally everyone. If we have Philadelphia sports fans, one
Oh
there
yeah.
for you. Streaming, soccer, football, lacrosse, literally anything. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week with our first race recap and race preview of the season. Hopefully you can see Owen this time. But yes, thank you guys so much, and we will see you all later. See ya.
Peace out, people.